WFM 91.7.
6 minutes past 9 on your Women Radio, WFM 91.7, and you're welcome on Panorama. Panorama is where we have the ladies from different geopolitical zones come together to discuss, dissect, and disagree on topical issues. Panorama is broadcast Mondays through Fridays at 5 minutes past 9. My name is Esther Alaribe, and as always, we have come again to discuss topical issues as they affect us, and we get to talk about different ways and different angles to it, how we can prefer solution and make headways as a society. The phone lines are open for you to join the conversation, 07000 917 917, or you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message, 070 317 56537, to be a part of the conversation. And you can listen live via the website www.wfm917.com. Download the mobile app to listen live, WFM 917. Joining me in the conversation this morning, I'll be speaking to Buki Femi Ajala. Good morning, Buki. How are you doing today?
Yes, Buki is doing great. Thank God. So how are we all, our Panorama family? You know, Ibn Abba will always say our esteemed
Panorama family. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you know, but I just love Panorama family. Yeah, so how are we doing? And Esther, Minister of Happiness, and your crew, I believe you're doing great.
Yes, we're fine. We're doing great. And speaking for the Panorama family as well, we're doing okay.
Beautiful Wednesday. Thank God.
Thank you so much, Buki. So, Buki, starting off the conversation today, we're going to be looking at the education sector. So now the federal government is looking at implementing a 40% automatic deduction from the internally generated revenues of federal universities and other partially funded institutions. And now this one, getting reactions from this. Now, ASU, that is the Academic Staff Union of Universities, and the Committee of Vice Chancellors of Nigerian Universities are having to describe this plan by the federal government as an attack on the university system. And this one from the government is said to be effective from November, and this is November 2023 already. And now, looking at what ASU and the vice chancellors are having to say. First off, when we look at our universities, take the federal universities for an instance, education in Nigeria, we can tell and we can see that there is a whole lot that we need to do for us to be able to get or be at par at other institutions across the world. There is a whole lot to be done. When you go to some institutions, you still see students sitting on tables, some people standing to receive lectures. There's so many things that you actually want to look at and talk about. You want to talk about how committed the lecturers are. I mean, it's been a while since we had ASU going on strike, but these are conversations that we have going on. How well treated, how catered for are the lecturers who get to lecture this student? At the end of the day, I like to say that whatever you give to somebody is what you get out of them. You cannot give 90% to somebody and be expecting of 100%. So it has to cut across every area. Now you're having to look at the government wanting to implement this 40% automatic deduction. What it means is, for revenue that the schools have not been able to implement or put back into the school system to actually benefit the student or the institutions, now the federal government is having to take back on this. And now watch from the national president of ASU, Professor Emmanuel Shedeke, is having to insist that the federal government decision was really, really disheartening, and noting that universities were not even generating enough revenue to be able to work on what they have with the schools. Buki, I think this is something that should be talked about, because if we're having to ask that federal universities give 40%, then what is the school left with?
Okay. How do we tackle this? Firstly, I might be wrong. I will probably do a little bit more research, because this circular is not just coming up today. I think it was signed 2021. And the question is, if it was signed 2021, what did the community, what did they do? I want to believe that there must have been a sitting where this was agreed Even if there was no sitting, when they saw the circular, what did they do?
Well, maybe
You know?
maybe they didn't pick it up because the date of implementation of the policy was dated October 17, 2023. So maybe that's why it is now a conversation now.
So it is very wrong.
Okay.
Then if it was signed, it was the policy in 2021 to take effect 2023. By all means, the government was giving them some time to work out the way it's going to be okay for them, in terms of their budgeting, in terms of their expenditure, something that is coming in the next 2 years. So what have you done? And if they know that it was not favorable, so what have they done for these 2 years? Mind you, I might sound off today, but I mean, let's face reality. We blame government for doing all these things, but even the other side of government. So this is where education is. So what exactly are you teaching the people? If there was a policy and you did not do anything, you now waited till the time of execution and you're now raising your ugly heads. I want to fault that. Except if they come to say, oh, we have had series of meetings, we had written letters and blah, 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 then we can say, okay, but it never yielded. But we never got to know that until now that the circular is coming out to say it will now take effect. Okay, so I've cleared that air. So on this issue,
Sorry, Buki.
So personally, excuse me for that. Personally, does it make sense to me? Personally, it doesn't. But I don't know why they did that. Is it because of them having to look for areas where there is money and they know that the universities are generating money so they can dip their hands into it? Because if you had been funding the universities appropriately and you have even made them to generate their money, I don't see why government should put their eye on that thing. I don't see why. I think it's just a lazy man approach, whereby they say, oh, there's money here. You don't even know what they use the money for. Oh, let's take 40% out of it. 40% out of that money? Meanwhile, we are crying that our infrastructure in the universities is nothing to write home about. Is it just infrastructure? Even the things that are in it, I mean, go to a standard lab. Is that it? I mean, there are no funds for even research, right? Go to their hostel, basic things that students need. It's not even there. And now universities have been able to carve out a way of generating money, and now you want to put your eye in it. I think it's a shame on the government. But like I said, I don't know where this is coming from. It would be good for us to know the reason for doing this. But, Nigerians were very quick to say, it is because there is money there. I know some universities that, I mean, they generate a whole lot of money and we see what they do with it. You understand? So they should fight it. Though I don't know if it's too late, but hey, it's a new dawn. The circular wants to take effect, and I think they should come together as one and really fight it and argue their case very well. So it's going to be an intelligent argument why the government should not put and deduct 40% automatically, because all monies go directly into the purse. So they have the right to take it just like that. And even when they want to take it, what exactly do they want to use that money for? So I think these are questions that they need to ask. That, okay, what do you want to use this money for? Where is it going? Is it going into the public system in terms of secondary and tertiary? Or is it going into tertiary institutions, and on what basis? If I'm able to generate money, Why would you now give it to somebody else who was just there, sitting down and not thinking of how to generate money? Or where exactly is this money going for? I think they need to ask those questions, right? And then also to fight it out that why do you even need to collect this money? You can tell us to account for it, but for you to now dip your hands into it, meanwhile, you are not even funding us according to the standards. We're supposed to have close between 15 and 25. I think education is about 8% budget, if I'm right, which is even low, which is even low. And then also, if you are even taking this money, how do you want us to run, the system? We have been generating this money and it has never helped us. I mean, to the extent that we want. Now you want to take 40%, which is close to half of it. So how do you want us to do? And indirectly, they are going to pass this money to the parents. Because when there's no water, there's no light, they can't pay their salaries, they can't do the things they need to do, it will affect somehow. And for those who do not want to affect, what do? They now have to begin to ask the students to begin to pay. And indirectly, it is the parents. And some of them that don't even have parents, you understand? They have to begin to resort to other things, right? They have to begin to resort. So are they looking at all these things? Some of them might become prostitutes. Some of them might become, they're going to Yahoo. Some of them will be involved in shady things, just to get, the means. 2 days ago, somebody called to say from Unilag, this is how much. In fact, she's even looking at paying half of it. Half of it was about 60-something thousand. She has been able to raise 30. She's looking for 30. And this is a young girl. And I just looked at her, I said, okay, if nobody gives her this money now, and one man just comes and says, you know what, sleep with me, I'll give it to you. If she's under pressure and she does not have value, she will do it. You understand? So they need to look at these things, that where is this money going to? Number one, is it to fund their lifestyle? Because the body language of this present government, we are looking at it, is not saying, well, it's like they want to begin to fund lifestyles, or what? What do they want to do? That money, is it going to directly impact, education, or indirectly? Are they going to use it to fund the loans that they are talking about, or what? We don't know. So these are questions, begging for answers. And even if they are telling universities to do that, okay, so indirectly, what are you telling the universities to do? To increase, payments by students or by parents, or what? Or
either way is Bookie. Yes. Anyhow we choose to look at this, what it just means is, first off, we need to understand that universities, institutions of learning are not revenue generating places, first. Then if you're having to ask them for all of this, what it meant is, look at recently, we had the conversation about when the University of Lagos increased their fees, and it got a lot of students talking. Some even had to go protesting. And I see no people today who are still complaining about the amount of money that they have to pay. So what it means is, these federal universities, these schools will have to increase the cost of tuition or the different fees that the student get to pay. Who is paying these fees? The student, their parent. Now let's go back to our economy. Look at what the impact of the fuel subsidy removal, what we have currently. So the ripple effect on is going to just be a whole lot. Like, people don't even have that money. If we're saying that we're giving out palliatives to people to help them cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal, and in other channels, through other channels, we're having to make them pay more, then it is counterproductive, Bookie.
We are saying the same thing. You understand? Those are my views as well. But what I'm saying now is that ASU and the stakeholders, they need to argue this case appropriately. Because if it has been signed, it's been signed. So though what has been signed can be unsigned, but it has to be argued appropriately. And those are the points that I was trying to marshal out. Because at the end of the day, who is going to bear the brunt is the students. Because if the university cannot afford these things anymore, somehow it is either they lower the standard or they increase the fee. And who is going to pay for it? Who is going to suffer for it? The students. Then at the end of the day, who is going to suffer for it is the country. Because now you are now going to produce half-baked students. And these are your manpower. These are your resources in the nation. Right now, we say Nigeria is not producing. It's part of it, the capacity of the students. Look at an average student. Look at his mindset or her mindset. It's not a productive mindset. It's a consuming mindset. An average is only those that shore up, that says, you know what, I need to be creative, I need to produce, I need to do this. But an average, because of the way the standard of education is, it's just for us to consume. And that is why I believe that the government and all the relevant stakeholders in the education should just look at it holistically. Let them not look at it from a lazy mindset that, oh, universities, you have a lot of money. Like, I understand Abuja, the internally generated whatever is running into billions. You understand? Oh, so that means you people have money. Okay, yeah, let's dip it. That has been the body language, of the past. And it should not be. They should even encourage. I don't share the sentiment of universities are not supposed to generate. Yes, they should be able to generate, even if the government is supporting them. Because when you generate, it makes you to become creative. There will be some hidden resources that you never know you had. Okay. You understand? And you could generate, but the money being generated should be pumped back into the system.
Yes, not out.
Not out. It should be pumped back into the system, because the university committee is large. There should be lots and lots and lots of ways of generating, of bringing even money. They can even get to the point, which I don't even know if any university is doing that. I think maybe Abuja is doing something similar to that, whereby they now begin to collaborate with industries, so that the industries will use them as research institutes. That is another way to generate money. But I doubt if most universities are doing that. So, I don't have authority because I've not done my statistics on that. But these are ways, where they generate money, apart from the little things they do, all those little things that they do. Some of them do trainings, courses, seminars, conferences, and all that, Yeah, they do that. And then some have other courses that they do outside, for them to generate money and all that. But they do quite a lot, and I really want to celebrate them. But I don't think the government should put their eyes in that money. If at all, it should be for accountability, that we want to see what you're doing with this money. We want to be sure that it's not diverted into somebody's purse. It's being put back into the educational system, in that community, in the university community, and even in the environs of the university, because somehow it stretches. All right, fine. How are you even going to get the loans if you don't have the money for you to have the loans? Is this another way of you getting the loans, for people to have? They should talk. They should talk. But like I said, the universities should have spoken since 2021. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Buki, for your thoughts there. Well, I hope that the stakeholders involved, parent, ASO, and other organizations working in the educational sector will be able to look at this and pick it up, really, because if we're saying that they're supposed to pay this 40%, what then will be left for the school to run with? These are the conversations that we need to look into. Thank you so much, Buki, for your thoughts there. 25 minutes past 9 on your Women Radio, WFM 91.7, and this is Panorama. Panorama is where we have the ladies from different geopolitical zones come together to discuss, dissect, and disagree on topical issues. The phone lines are open 07000 917 917, or you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message 070 317 56537. My name is Esther Alaribi, and I have Buki Femi Ajala as we discuss topical issues this morning. The next story that we're moving on to this morning, Buki, we're looking at the case of this 44-year-old man who is having to call on Nigerians to come to his aid after DNA results revealed that he is not the biological father of all of his 4 children. And now, having to raise concerns about this, this was on a radio program where he stated this, and these 4 children, how he went about the results, because the wife, according to her own account, is having to say that she does not accept this result, that she doesn't know when the samples were taken, what samples they took, or how it was, and she's sure of how she conceived her children. And now this one has gotten a lot of people talking, saying that paternity fraud is a thing in Nigeria as to how women get pregnant and give the child or give the pregnancy, something like that, to the available person. I don't even know what that means, available person though. But that's what people are having to say, that paternity fraud is a thing in Nigeria. And this man is having to call on Nigerians to look into this for him. First, maybe we want to start by looking at where this test was carried out, the credibility of the center, so many things involved really, because this is a very huge blow on anybody to learn that the children that you've raised all your lives are not yours. You will still love them, yes, having to raise them, you definitely feel so much love, compassion for them, yes. And these children, if raised rightly, would always see you as a parent, even if they later find whoever their biological father is. But think about the trauma on this person who's having to find out that these children are not his biological children. So, Buki, how are we dissecting this conversation? First, are we looking at the credibility of the center where this test was carried out? What did this man see or notice that made him go carry out this test without the knowledge of the woman, because the woman said she wasn't aware about this? Buki.
Okay, well, so these are things that we see on social media, and of course, it was a radio station, so we do not know the foundational story, what made the man, to go for the DNA test. Something must have triggered it. I hope it's not the same story I had, because it's the same. We have 4 children. I hope it's not the same story, that they wanted to travel, and somewhere along the line they had to do a DNA or whatever. But like I said, we don't know the underlying story of this, but bottom line is that, yes, the DNA was carried out, and the 4 children happened not to be from the man. So the man is crying for help. My initial reaction when I read that was, what help do you want us to render for you? This thing is very simple. The woman says, you are the owner. You are saying the DNA says you are not the owner. Simple. Go to a place where both of you agree on and do it again. I know it's expensive, but that is the only way that these things you can test it out. A place where both of you will agree. Maybe the only help is probably maybe some NGOs, or maybe the government of the state, is interested in this matter, or the Commissioner for Women is interested in this matter, to say, okay, we are going to bear the expenses. Come to a neutral ground where both parties are going to be there, and they do it again. Obviously, they have to do it again, because we do not know who is saying the truth. But now, after they have done it, and the test is still the same.
Okay.
To be honest, I think a bill has to be looked into this. Yes, I'm a woman, but why would you deceive a man? Why would you deceive a man for that long? I think it's cruel. I think it's wickedness. I think it's devilish. I mean, if the man wants to marry you, he will still marry you. And if the man has challenges, both of you should discuss it. But you bringing children that is not a man's own, and you are making the man to know that, hey, these are your biological. I think that is deep. That's wickedness. And honestly, we need to look at such things right now where if it's found and you did not disclose it to your husband, ha, I think we should begin to criminalize these things, honestly, because it's not right. Morally, it's not right. And I want to believe that these people call on God, whichever their religion is. Even society is not right. You've made a mistake, you've made a mistake. Declare it. If your husband wants you, fine. Okay, now look at the disgrace that she has done. So she did not do it once. I mean, I'm just assuming that the result comes out and the result says that this man is not the father. So look at the disgrace that she has done. That means she has done it at least 4 times. 4 times. So possibly maybe different fathers, we don't know. You understand? Maybe different futures. There's a way when you begin to see all kinds of futures that is not in you, is not in the mother, is not in the grandmother, is not in the grandfather. You can begin to suspect somehow. You understand? I think a new one has to be done on a neutral ground, and if truly, this woman, I mean, did bad, to this man. I don't know. Let's leave it to what the law will do. I don't know if there is a provision for that, but this is under deceit. This is under deceit. And if it happens that it was the wrong way, probably something went wrong with the test, maybe where they did it was wrong. You understand? Because these things can be manipulated, and we do not know the qualification of the person who did it. You understand? So if they now find out that truly the man is the biological father of the children, then we have to go back to where this man did it. And if it's an hospital or whatever it is, then of course they should be penalized. So that's the only help we can talk about. I mean, yes, we can talk about it, enlighten people, but basic thing, as a women radio, we need to talk to ourselves, women. I mean, as much as possible, don't make that mistake. As much as lies in you, don't make that mistake. And if it does, be bold enough to confront the matter with your so-called husband. You made the mistake, because somewhere along the line, this thing will show up, and when it does, I mean, it can be disgraceful. It can be disgraceful, not even for the man alone, even for the child, because the child, you will not feel that, okay, so who is my father? If this man who has been taking care of me has been my father, and you did this to him. So let's look at it from all angles. That's why we probably want to appeal to women that as much as lies in you, don't do such things. And when you do, I mean, yeah, people fall and things like that. But hey, when you do, take responsibility, because you are not led into the act blindly. You know what you are doing. So don't say it was the devil. You know what you were doing. And if it happens, take responsibility for it. And I mean, discuss it with your man. If your man loves you, you understand, possibly maybe the man also has issues, We know some parents, we know some families that, hey, I mean, it happened, and I mean, it's a secret between them. You understand? So these things do happen, but not that at the end of the day, the man will now discover, like in Yoruba, so that's that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Buki, for your thoughts there. So when I saw this one, there were different things that actually came to mind. And a lot of people have also had to weigh in on this to say that there definitely must have been some other things that this this report did not cover, because there has to be something that the man had seen before having to go on to say, let's find out if these children are actually mine. There has to be some conversations around it. But all the same, it is just best in your best interest and the interest of your family, your partner, for you to be open when certain things happen. Yes, Buki, talking about being open and the stigma that comes with our society, people wanting to quickly point fingers and what have you. The way a man would get somebody else pregnant and still be able to bring the child home, call family meetings, appeal to the woman, and the woman will still accept the child. You know, that is not the same grace that we extend to women when cases like this happen. So, talking about the openness and opening yourself up to the stigma, the shame and embarrassment from people, I mean, how would you advise that anybody deals with that? Because it is one thing to be open, but are you ready for all of the things that will come afterwards?
So that is why I always say that when you want to make a decision, the act of taking that decision, it can be 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, but the consequences can be eternal. The consequences can be lifelong. So for me, which I always say, it's not about the decision, but it's about the consequences. Are you willing to live with these consequences? So that will shape your decision. We live in a patriarchal society where whatever the man does, it's okay. But if the lady does it, you understand. But to be honest, both the man and the woman, they're human beings. They have their rights as well. It is only in the family setting that you have the head, and then of course you have the wife,
the woman,
in a family setting. But where the man does it, most men, they take responsibility and they open up. And they open up, most, and they open up. And some of them will go further to say, this one is my seed. This one will come and stay with me. Some will say, okay, stay with your mother and I take responsibility. And some of them, they are totally irresponsible. Let's say, let's call it that, They don't take responsibility for that, which is wrong. But then they come back to the woman and, we are graced. We easily forgive, though it will hurt us. But we look at it that, this is somebody's child. Okay, the love of my husband, I will accept, which is good. So, if it is good for the man, then let us make it good for the woman. And to be honest, for a woman, okay, now I have to be very careful now.
Yes, because this conversation is actually a very sensitive one, and we need to be as clear as possible, so someone doesn't take what we had said and just misconstrue it. Yeah.
So what I wanted to say is that for a woman, to go out of the marital life, to do this, it is easy for the man to do it, even when you have a loyal wife and all that. We've seen it. So we're talking from statistics. But you see, women are more, and that's why I said I wanted to be very careful, because I don't have my statistics, but based on the experiences we've seen, people that we see around, women are more sacrificial, even when the man really does not help out, is not loyal to them. You have more women more loyal to that oath that they have taken. That is why even today we still talk about women that they will say, oh, it's because of the children, that is why I am waiting. But we know some, that because the whole place is not just right for them. Maybe the man is not really taking care of her and all that and all that. And then, of course, there are some reasons that are just greedy in terms of your value, your lose and all that. You go out to do these things and then you bring the pregnancy home. For me, if you're able to take responsibility and say, yes, I cheated, and this is the outcome of it, you should take responsibility, because when you were doing it, your eyes were open. You know it. It wasn't just it just didn't start like that. There must have been except if you were raped. Except when there was a rape, you understand? But then even after that, you need to disclose this to the husband, right? So even if it was not a rape and you did it and it was a mistake, you understand, the pregnancy came in and your value says you cannot do abortion and all that, hey, you need to come out clean to your husband now. If your husband loves you and is willing to forgive you, he will take you. And if the man says, no, I can't take it, hey, it's your responsibility now. Live with the consequences. It's as simple as that. Because you know, and you went ahead to do it. So live with the consequences. What else are we supposed to be saying? But I believe that if the man loves you, the man should be willing, to make that bend. I know it's difficult. I know some men will say, lie, no, it's not possible. But on the other hand, you expect us to do it. So this is not an issue of women's rights or whatever it is. We're only saying that, hey, what is right in this way? Because if you toss her out and all that, does that mean that you don't love her? Because love also has its own dimensions. There are many, many, many dimensions of love.
All right. Buki, let's hear from this caller. Let's hear what this caller has to say. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Oh, do have to call us back on 07000 917 917 to be a part of the conversation this morning right here on Women Radio 91.7. Yes, Buki, you were telling us love and how love can actually, yes, they say love conquers all, but I don't know why when it gets to certain conversations, people actually forget all of the vows, for better, for worse, and they just throw the love out of the window and everybody decides to do what they want to do.
Yeah, and that's why we are saying that love is love. If you say you love this person, even the weaknesses, the faults, you love it. But it's just because we come from, this patriarchal society that the man takes everything. A man is the king. You are just there. You understand? But what we are saying is that, hey, if you really love, and to be honest, I think I've had a case like that. And you will never know, except if they tell you the man forgave the lady and the child is there, and it is only when you look at the futures, you now know that the gene from the man is very strong in the others, but this one is different. But hey, it's just there because, hey, he has forgiven the wife. So what we're saying is that even in such instances, why can't you? Why can't you forgive? And let's make the world better. But like I said, it's a woman's radio. We need to talk to ourselves. As much as lies in you, please do not do it. And if you do it, please be ready to face the consequences and take responsibility.
All right. Thank you so much, Buki, for your thoughts this morning. And thank you for actually having to outline this conversations this way, because really when it comes to conversations like this, they're very, very sensitive one, and people ought to be very, very careful about this. Mistakes happen, yes. We live in a patriarchal society that over time, when it comes to this kind of conversation, we have been kind to men. Women would accept the children from other the affairs that they've had outside marriages. They would appeal to the women and it will be a conversation of the past and everybody will move on. But when it happens to the woman, all we get is rejection. Everybody wants to embarrass the women. Even her own family members, they feel like the daughter has done something very, very wrong and the woman is left alone all by herself. So yes, I can understand where you're coming from, Buki. 15 minutes to 10 on your women radio, WFM 91.7, and this is still Panorama. My name is Esther Laribe, and I've been speaking to Buki Femi Ajala. As we get to wrap up on the conversation this morning, Buki, I would like for us to talk about the need for us to manage our emotions. I spoke about a video that I saw earlier today of two friends who got into this disagreement, and it led into something else, and one stabbed the other just from a disagreement. So there is need for us to be able to manage our emotions, put yourself together, and be sure per time the words that you say to people. Somebody said something to me yesterday. Thinking about it, this person might not have known that the words that they have said left a certain taste in my mouth. It could have been said to any other person, and the person would just shrug it off and just move on. But people are different. People are different. I try to make excuses for people in my head when things are said or done to me, because I just want to look at you and say where you're coming from is different from where I'm coming from. There's certain words that I would not use on people regardless of the situation, but it's not the same for everybody. So when the person said that yesterday, it took me some minutes to actually get over it, because I didn't expect to hear such words from this person. Maybe it was just me rating them too high to use certain words, but it's just one of those things. But let's talk about the need to put our emotions in check and always manage your emotions.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's why we speak of emotional intelligence now. It wasn't there before, but there is a big course around it now, where it's not just about how you feel, but how would the other person feel. And really, I know when we were growing up, I mean, my mom would always talk about it as the golden rule. Do unto others as you want others to do unto you. So if you want somebody, to respect you or whatever it is, how do you communicate? Particularly when there are cases of anger. When you cannot control your anger, you begin to say things that at times, when the anger don't cool down, you begin to apologize. Then in this, as why did you now say such things? So that's where the emotional intelligence now comes in, that, what? It's not about how you feel, but also weigh the words that come out. We know these words that will come out, they're life. They can either kill, or they can make somebody. So when you talk to someone, you don't know how that person has received it. The person has received it in a way that at the end of the day you fight. Like the video you said you watched, somebody was injured. There was blood flowing. And we know that quite a lot of things have happened in the past, that a life is lost. So at the end of the day, how do you now want to report to say, it was because of anger, and we're very quick to say it's the devil. But meanwhile, when you say the devil, God too was there. God was telling you, calm down. But you decided to listen to the voice of the devil. You understand? So what are we saying today? We are saying that, yes, you have the right to be angry. Somebody annoyed you or whatever it is. But can you manage your emotions? Don't let your emotions control you. You should control your emotions, because you are the one that has that brain, except where you are, call it sickness of the mind. That's when we talk about mental illness. When you're not mentally healthy, it's like you have malaria in your body. Your mind is sick. You understand? So you need to go for healing. I mean, go and see a therapist, or go and see what do you call them? The mental illness expert.
Mental health advocate, therapist.
Yes, they're able to diagnose the brand, because it's a spectrum, and give you the adequate one. And then for those who just easily get annoyed and all that, it has to do with your mental health as well. So you need to check, and then they will take you through set therapy sessions. Why? You don't have to be annoyed. Even if you are, the Bible says, even if you're annoyed, let the sun, don't let the sun go down, so just calm down. And this life, there is stress everywhere. So why would you just get annoyed and just, instead of you blowing beautiful fragrance, you are blowing terrible fragrance up and down the whole place, and everybody knows you as that woman or that man that easily gets angry. No, no, no. Yes, even when you're angry, just calm down. Because, like somebody said, the time that you're not supposed to take action is when you are angry or when you are too overjoyous. Those times are not the time to take action or to take critical decisions.
All right.
And like I always say, when you want to respond to something that is coming, and what is in your mind to do is to injure somebody, to ensure that that person is injured, blood flows, or something gets destroyed, know that you are crossing the boundary of anger.
All right.
You are crossing the boundary of anger. Or when you say harshful words that the person would just want to go and commit suicide or do something, you have crossed it. And we should not do that to our fellow human beings.
All right. Thank you so much, Buki. I like that you wrapped up in that way so people know ahead. Sometimes I know people can get under your skin, different things can happen, people can say stuff, but you are in control of your words, your actions, and your speech. So you have to actually own it and not allow anybody or just anybody control how you feel about yourself or the things around you. Thank you so much, Buki, for being on the program this morning.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And it's a wrap on Panorama this morning. Do well to join us tomorrow at 9:05 as we discuss topical issues. At 10 a.m. today, we're going to be talking women and weighty stuff. So women, the phone lines will be open for you on Radio Doctor at 10 a.m. Call us. Let's talk about your health challenges, what you're faced with your health, what people get to say about your health, how losing weight or adding weight has been a challenge or struggle, societal pressure to want to look a certain way. The phone lines will be open 07000 917 917, or you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message 070 317 565 377 10 a.m. and we'll be here to talk about women and weighty stuff. My name is Esther Alaribi. Good morning.
To sponsor this program, call the number 0816 480 7613.
WFM 91.7.